Hey everybody, welcome back to Unlocking the Paradigm Portal. My name is Sarah, and I am back unfiltered and feeling like total garbage, by the way. But it resonated with me that if I'm feeling like this, there's probably other people, and what am I learning out of it? Because I always look at the lessons. So this morning, I am coming to you from a very quiet place and a very slow place. And it's a place where my body and not my mind is leading. And lately, my body has been very clear with me that I need to slow down and be with myself and stop forcing and allow myself to heal. And instead of pushing through, instead of like trying to figure everything out, I've been practicing just listening and being with it, which is extremely difficult when I feel this fire inside of me that is pulling me to do all of these things that I have been dreaming about. But my body is saying stop. Like it literally, my entire chest and abdomen just are aching right now. And what I'm finding is that when I do stop and slow down and just listen, and I really let myself be still, things are starting to make sense in a way that they just never do when I'm rushing around. And there's this clarity that has not come from effort. It has come from just being present. So pardon me as I sip my hot chocolate before I switch to my immune boosting tea and occasionally cough. So what has been coming up is, and I'm willing to bet the vast majority of anybody listening to this will feel this pretty strongly too. I've lived in this quote unquote doing mode of thinking and processing and analyzing and connecting the dots and trying to make things fit. And there's nothing that's inherently wrong with that. But there does come a point when you can apply too much force and it actually moves you further away from truth instead of closer to it. And our bodies are the biggest tells for that. Our bodies know, and the nervous system knows. So when we push or tighten or strive or try to effort our way through life, the body responds with tension, with fatigue, with illness, burnout, anxiety, and sometimes all of the above. And when the body starts whispering to slow down, ignoring it does not make the message go away. It just gets louder. So something I've been noticing lately is how much wisdom is living in those quiet spaces. So even though I feel super crappy right now, I keep finding myself smiling as I'm sitting here in my pajamas, just looking disheveled and messy, because this morning, and I can only speak for right now in this moment, I am allowing and I am letting everything be soft and quiet. And the pieces that are coming together are just blowing my mind. And because my body feels so crappy, I can't act on it right now, but I can sit with it and just let it swirl around. And what I'm noticing is I've been having really cool, profound dreams. And when I wake up, you know that moment right before, when you first wake up, like right before you're really aware of what's going on. And everything is that hazy in-between world. That is where I'm seeing such clarity. That space like right before you fully wake up, before your feet hit the floor, or your phone lights up, or you reach for your phone and your mind kind of grabs the reins to take over. It's that very cool in-between state. And I think most of us that have been running and doing don't really allow that in-between state to be prolonged. And I've been waking up and I've been lying there and still not trying to do anything with my thoughts, but in that stillness, letting things like arrive in fragments and images and feelings and memories and understandings. And it's not like a full story. And it's not some piece together tidy narrative. It's just like puzzle pieces. And I've been sitting with that and observing the puzzle pieces instead of rushing to assemble them together and letting them exist exactly as they are. Because if I'm trying to make sense of it, then I'm forcing meaning, and forcing meaning too early will distort the true meaning. And if you think about it, we're really taught to believe that clarity comes from effort, and that if we just think harder or work faster or learn more or do more, things will click. But that's not always how wisdom works. And sometimes clarity comes from that allowing, which is really difficult when you want to do. It's that like urge to take action. And I keep getting in my mind, if you're someone who knows the tarot, there's the card, the Chariot, and in it, there's a black horse and a white horse, and the person's holding the reins. And one of the meanings is about that push-pull, trying to like gather the force together instead of just kind of letting it flow where it needs to. And it's trying to move too fast before it's time. So in those mornings when the pieces are just floating and I'm letting them gather and I'm trusting that they will come together in their own time, that is when somatic work becomes so important. And if you don't know what somatic work is, it's really just a process of connecting back to your body. I do this with clients all the time, using the breath to tune back into their body. And little tips like close your eyes when you're doing it, because if you have your eyes open, you're focusing externally instead of internally. And it's so crucial because the body doesn't operate on urgency, excuse me, the way that the mind does. The body, it moves at the pace of safety. And this can be particularly challenging if your body has never identified what feels safe or what safety feels like. But the cool thing is you can cultivate it in yourself. So when you slow down your breath, when you soften your muscles, when you stop bracing, and in those moments in your bed, assuming that you're in a safe place, in a safe situation, whether alone or with other people, you can allow yourself just in that moment, even just for a few seconds, to just take a breath, and you can cultivate that safety in yourself. And when you do that, that nervous system shifts out of survival and into regulation. And you get, even just for a flash, this snippet of, holy shit, this is what safe feels like. I'm okay. And the best part is that once you can identify that, then you'll be able to start identifying when things feel unsafe as opposed to safe. And that is the place where that insight just really flows naturally. So in the morning, as I'm letting I visualize things very strongly. So it's like watching snippets in puzzle pieces that are just kind of splattered out. And instead of trying to make the puzzle come together, I just sit with it and I let them kind of float. And then I start seeing little tethers where this connects to that and that connects to that. And it all starts making so much more sense than when I tried to create the story in my mind. And it's had me reflecting on the teachers that I've had in my life. And they are the greatest teachers. And when I say the greatest, I am not using the traditional idea of the greatest. It's not some sunshine and roses, happy. Sometimes yes, a lot of times no. But they are the people and the situations that have shown me in the ways that they showed me things that I needed to reflect upon in myself, whether it's coming out of family interactions or family members or relationships or romantic partners or friendships, beginnings, endings, moments of friction, moments of grace. I'm now, just by sitting with it, I can see where I've exerted too much force and where I tried to make things fit that just, frankly, were not meant to fit at all or anymore. And I kept trying to make things fit, even though it didn't feel right, because I was tuning out what my body was telling me. And I overrode my own knowing because I was afraid of what would stop, or what would happen, if I stopped. And afraid of the stopping, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And I can also see where peace has come, is continuing to come from allowing, where I've loosened my grip, where I've trusted the flow, where I stopped trying to control the outcome. And those moments didn't feel dramatic. In the moment, maybe they did, but looking back, were they actually dramatic? No, they weren't. Those moments were so obvious, but it was my own mental resistance to the allowing that made them feel dramatic. But in truth, they felt quiet, and they felt grounded, and they felt like relief. And that's how truth arrives. It's not with fireworks, but with an exhale. And when you are, if you choose to, I should say, give yourself even just a few minutes a day, even a few seconds, to just take some time quietly and close your eyes and put your hands up on your upper chest or up on your rib cage or lower abdomen or wherever it feels like you've got that ball sitting, that tension. And just close your eyes, breathe in through your nose, and exhale out through your mouth. And just sit with it. And notice what you're thinking. Notice what you're feeling, whether it's a physical feeling, whether it's an emotion, and just acknowledge it. And what you'll notice is that when you are thinking or speaking the truth of what you're feeling, your next breath will suddenly expand. And that is so subtle, and most people don't pick up on it, but that is a sign of your body saying, this is truth. Now, the trouble or the difficulty with allowing yourself to have these few moments is it can be uncomfortable. If you've never sat with yourself, it's scary. It might feel dangerous. And that is just a sign that that's a place to lean into with gentleness, with grace, with compassion, with softness. And then the other challenge to it is there is this cultural obsession with productivity and with movement and with achievement and with constant output. But just being with yourself is not passive. It is not lazy. It is deeply active on a nervous system level. And when you allow yourself to be and to feel and to notice and to rest, your system integrates. You're now becoming one with your entire system, with your entire body, instead of being separate from it, and at times waging a war against it when it isn't behaving the way that you want it to. I'm going to say that again because I'm willing to bet that resonates with people. When you allow yourself to rest, your system can integrate and you become one with yourself, with your body, rather than waging a war against it for not behaving the way that you want it to. And your body processes experiences that your mind couldn't resolve on its own. And this is why so many insights arrive through dreams or taking a shower or taking a walk or having these moments of stillness. And I challenge you to reflect on times that you've had that craving for that moment of stillness. And what did you instinctually do? Did you go into avoidance? Did you distract yourself? Or say, oh, I'll have time for that later. That's literally that mind taking over again and saying, nope, we know better. Don't listen to your body. Avoid. Like abort mission. It's not safe. But it is. Because all those feelings that you have coming up, whether they're physical sensations, emotional sensations, thoughts, those are guideposts directing you to what needs some attention, what needs some love, what needs some nurturing. And when your mind steps aside, or when you say, thank you, I've got this, and shut it down, or just tune it out, like hitting the mute button, that's when this deeper intelligence starts to speak. Because your mind is far more intelligent Well, let me rephrase that. Wow, I just said that backwards. Your body is far more intelligent than your mind. Right now, my mind is telling me, stop what you're doing and go lie down. But my body is saying, no, this is very important to share. So I'm going to say that again correctly. Your body is far more intelligent than your mind. Your mind tries to logic your way through it. Your body is feeling your way through it. And if your body has been asking you to slow down, or if you've been feeling foggy or tired or overwhelmed or disconnected, this may not be a sign that something is wrong. It may be a sign that something is integrating. Because healing does not always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like stillness, and sometimes it looks like pulling back or saying no or doing less. And trusting that what is meant to come together will, when you're ready to receive it. And you can't logic your way through that if you're not ready. And you're not ready until you are connected to your body. So I'm going to invite you again into this gentle experiment just for today. Notice where you're forcing. Notice where you're holding tension, whether it's in your body or in your mind. And with that, notice where you're exerting control over your body, over your circumstances, over your situation, over your home, over your children, over your partner, over yourself. And notice where you're trying to use all of that and wield it and harness it to try to gain clarity. And ask yourself, what would happen if I just softened instead? And what would happen if I just sat here and took some slow breaths? And what would happen if I paused before responding and let that quiet linger just a little longer? Because you don't need to figure everything out right now. And you don't need to assemble that entire puzzle today. You are allowed to be with yourself exactly as you are. And I am here giving you permission to take even just a few moments to be with yourself and trust that your body knows the way. Because when we stop trying to do, quote unquote, do our way into understanding, we remember how to be our way into truth. And from that place, clarity doesn't have to be chased. It just arrives. And it arrives without fanfare. It arrives without fireworks and mind-boggling aha moments and epiphanies. It's just that exhale. So for today, allow yourself some softness and just notice, be curious. I love curiosity. Be curious about what would happen if you just drop the reins. What would happen if just for a few moments? It doesn't mean abandoning ship or giving up on anything. It just means just for a few moments, what if you said to everyone around you, I just need to step away for a minute and go in another room, close the door. If noises distract you, put on some headphones in silence, not with a meditation, no guided meditations, no none of that. Just be with yourself and just take some breaths and notice what you feel. And I would love if you shared with me in the comments. I just turned the community page on. I'm still learning YouTube, but so that's on there. If you want to leave some messages on there, I will respond to you. I'm pretty good about doing it. And hey, I'm moving slowly today, so I will absolutely check. So for today, just take some breaths with yourself and allow. And we'll see if I'm feeling better tonight. Maybe we'll do a little twofer today. All right, I am going to get back to my hot cocoa and maybe write some of this in a journal or just lay down and take a few breaths. I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.